Okay, how would you like to have carnivore hamburgers? That's right, with actual buns. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, stick around to the end. Now also too, if this sounds interesting to you, have it smash the like button as well as subscribe, and also hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we upload more videos. Alright guys, let's go check it out. Okay, so what we have right here, obviously I've got my mince, but I've also got a bit of liver. And I do believe we should be having liver in our diet. And we're just going to throw this in here. This is 50 grams of liver, 250 grams of mince. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to be throwing in some pork rinds, so as I can incorporate that as part of the mince. Then I'm just going to throw this in here and make that all a part of it as well. And that will also help to mask the flavour of liver, especially if you, like me, and really can't stand the flavour. So you want to do as much as you can to try and mask it, and this will help to mask it no end. Now another thing we want to do too is finally chop up the bacon so that it incorporates inside the mince really well. So I'm just going to throw all this in here, and then we're going to blend that up, and we're going to, once it's all minced up and sort of like a slurry, we can then add that to the mince. And then I'll chop this up, and we'll then proceed to create really fine bacon that we can then add into the actual mince. Now I'm no chef, so if I'm not doing this cutting effectively, forgive me, but I'm learning. So, now I'm sure there are probably people out there watching me doing what I'm doing and thinking, oh, this guy's going to chop off his fingers at any time. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. And that should do me for the moment. I don't want to have to be overly minced up. If I wanted to mince it up, I'd throw it in the blender. But I think for the moment, that will suffice. I'll throw that straight into the mince and then incorporate that through. Alright. And I'm making a bit of a mess here, but that's okay. It's a clean bench. I scrubbed it before I started filming. Now, some of this might be larger than I want, so be careful not to get that in there. And those that are a bit bigger, I will chop up a bit more. And we'll incorporate that and add that through the mince. Now of course we want to also add the bacon skin as well, and we'll then incorporate that into the mince as well. So we'll be I'm just going to be right back to finish off the blending. Now with the mince and the pork skin, the bacon skin, we just blend all this together. The reason I'm including the skin and the fat is because this way it just gives us more fat during the actual cooking process. Okay, well hopefully that's enough, because I'm not going to do any more than that right now. And all we need to do now is put that straight into here, and we'll blend that in here. We'll mix it all together. Now the mixture of the bacon as well as the liver and the mince, there'll be zero taste of any liver whatsoever. As I said, I dislike the taste of liver, and anything that can mask it, the better. Now I do have a video on doing it just with mince. Now I used 100 grams of, or a little bit less than 100 grams of liver with 500 grams of mince. So I used a very small amount of liver and much larger amount of mince, and that really did mask the flavour. In fact, you couldn't really, except for one little part, you could not taste the liver in any way, shape or form. I think I had one little chunk that was a bit bigger than I wanted, and that was the part that I tasted because it didn't become this paste like I'm putting in now. Okay, now all you need to do is mix this together and make sure it is thoroughly mixed through. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, that is now mixed together very thoroughly, and it is going to be what we're going to be using for our burger. Okay, so the next thing we need to consider is how to make the buns. Let's go and have a look at how to do that. Okay, so the main thing you're going to be needing for the actual base for the buns is you got some pork rinds, just to give it a bit of firmness and to make it sit better, 4 eggs, and 2 tablespoons of butter. Now you have to melt that butter. I'm just going to go do that now. I'll put that in the microwave for a minute, and then what we need to do is mix all the ingredients together, starting off with the pork rinds. Okay, so first thing you need to do is you chuck your pork rinds in there, and let's get started on incorporating the eggs. Right, now what we need to do is mix that all together. I'm just going to use a whisk for that. And as you can see, that's thickening up quite nicely. So I'll just make sure I get every bit of the pork rinds there. Now that will thicken as it sits. I'm also going to add this melted butter straight to this. Let me just get my oven mitts out. Now, what we need to do now is incorporate that straight into there, and we'll be right to go. I'm just going to pour this straight into here, trying to avoid not spilling any on myself, because that's quite warm. There we go. Now we'll just whisk that together, and the best part about this is it allows it to give it a really nice texture, and also makes it a bit crispier too, so it gives you a good outside of the bun. As you can see, that's blending together very nicely. So what I'm also going to do now is I'm going to turn on my waffle maker. Now, instead of using a waffle, I'm going to be using this particular fixture right here. They can be making little buns. Now, you may have ones where they're just waffles, and that is perfectly fine. That will work just as well. Now, I'm just going to turn my waffle maker on and preheat that. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a third of a cup, and I'm going to scoop that into each one of those once it has heated up enough to be able to do this. I've also put some butter on the actual top and the bottom part so that it'll release easier once we make the buns. So once it has heated up, we'll get started. Okay, I think that has actually heated up enough. I'm just going to grab a spatula, a wooden spatula. Now all you need to do, actually I'll grab a rubber one. I'll be right back. Now, what I'll do is I'll just put this straight into the waffle maker. I'll turn that around so you can see. Put that into the waffle maker, and then you just spread it out to the edges. That is about the right amount. Then you just spread that out around to the edges so that it reaches the entire thing. Make sure you get it all out, and then you take it across the entire thing. Now this is a 1/3 cup, will fit perfectly in that, and this should make up about 2 or maybe 2.5 batches of this. So I'm just going to pop this straight in here, and then we'll just incorporate that in there, put that straight in there, and see how this looks. Okay, so this doesn't take 3.5 minutes as... Oh, by the way, this recipe came from Ketogenic Woman. I'll give her a bit of a shout out because she's the one who came up with this recipe, and I think it's absolutely awesome. So I'm just going to close this off, and then after it's finished cooking, I'm not sure exactly how long it'll take. I'm guessing with my particular one, of course it's an El Cheapo one, it's going to take about 5 minutes to cook. So I'll be back once it's finished. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at what this is going to look like. So far, this is looking beautifully. Now, as you can see, there's been a bit of an overflow here. I must have overfilled that one just a bit too much. This one's looking all right. So let's just close it up a little bit longer and we'll see how it goes once it's finished. All right, well, that's now about ready. So I'm just going to open this up and flip these out. By adding the oil to it, it just makes it a lot easier to get these out. So as you can see, it just comes straight out like that. Now I can always cut that little bit off there, the little spearhead shape there. And then all we need to do is add a bit more to it now. So I'm just going to add maybe not quite a whole one of these this time, maybe a little bit less. So we'll see how it goes. We'll incorporate that in there. Put that in. We'll see how it looks. Maybe I won't put quite as much in it this time. This one was okay, so that's all right. We'll just make sure we spread that all the way out. It's a little bit thicker now, so and you'll find that that's what happens. That it does tend to thicken up as it sits. So I've got to be quick with this because it has the base will have already started cooking. There we are. And I'll just get the next lot, and that will probably do. And I'll be able to have 2 sets of burger buns. So let me just scoop that into here. That will probably do, maybe a little bit more. There's only a little bit left anyway, so I'll grab that. Yeah, that'll do. And I'll put that in here. Hopefully it won't. There we go. I'll spread that out, and hopefully that will work fine once it squishes down. Okay, I won't put the entire amount in. I'll leave a little bit in there, so I don't want to have the overflow like I had earlier. Let's close this off, and we'll see you once it's finished. Alright, now the second lot here is about ready, so I'm just going to bring my plate over a bit closer. We'll pop that open. And as you can see, they make beautiful little buns. I'll pop that over here on top of this one. And now we're about ready to move on to the next step, which is cooking the minced patties. Okay, now all we're going to be doing is just melting a bit of butter in the pan, and I'll just put that on and turn it up. Now it's going to be starting at 200 degrees. That's way too hot for what we need. I'm just going to turn this down to about 120, and then once it's on 120 and it melts the butter, I'll then turn that down to 80, and we'll then begin cooking. Obviously the more fat we have, the better. Now if you're on a weight loss aspect, you want to lose a fair bit of weight, then you might want to reduce the amount of fat you have. Probably don't want to be putting fat over the top of this, but it's okay. If you're wanting to heal, then get as much fat into yourself as you can, because apparently from what the experts were saying, fat is what's going to help heal you. Okay, so also too, now of course I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice, I am just here as a person who is learning carnivore pretty much just like you guys are. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm going to turn that down to about 80. We don't want to burn the minced patties. Now of course I've got bacon and liver mixed in with this, so that will give it a rather interesting flavour. I've never eaten this kind of thing before. I've eaten the one with the liver and mince, but I've never ever eaten anything with the bacon in it as well. So I've never eaten the mince with bacon, so that should make it a very interesting flavour. So I've got enough here to do a couple of days worth of food. So I'm just going to do a couple of meat patties while I'm here to go into my pan, or to go onto my buns. Also too, yesterday I created a video about carnivore mayonnaise, so I'll be putting that onto my buns as well. Now you can also put cheese on there if you want to, and that will probably do me for now. And I'm just going to put a lid on this. These are great, these lids. They've got lots of little holes, and they've also got a lovely window. You can see what's going on, and it helps to steam your food, and it fits on all my pans beautifully. I got this from Aldi, so yeah, if you get a chance to see them at Aldi, go for it, because they are brilliant. Here's the mayonnaise I made yesterday. I had to microwave it a little bit because it was a lot firmer than I meant it to be. So maybe I should have whipped it a little bit longer till it was a bit thicker. But that's okay. Once you microwave it, it softens up very nicely, and that becomes very spreadable. And remembering, this is essentially a fat bomb because of the amount of fat that's actually in this. And if you want to watch that, I will leave it in the card above. Well, while I'm here, I may as well butt them here right now. So I'll pop this straight on top and use that as the base. I'll put that on each of the, there we go, look at that, melting in beautifully. And that's not that hot, but still it's soaking in quite nicely. And this mayonnaise will go beautifully with the mince. Now remembering that this is like a fat bomb in a lot of ways, and it will possibly even do your fat intake for that particular meal. Got a bit too much on that one. There we go. There we are, that's better. That one's still a bit warm. This one here is a bit better because it's not as hot. We'll just spread that over. Because it's melting as I go, it's a bit harder to spread. Normally I just go spread and it wouldn't be an issue, but it's melting as I go, so probably, there we are. Not spreading as well as I was hoping it would. That's okay. As you can see, it's melting quite nicely. I'm going to move this away from the heat. Hopefully that will help to reduce the amount of melting that's happening. Okay, so I'm not exactly the best chef in the world. I've just flipped these over, and as you can see, they're kind of falling apart, but that is kind of to be expected when you're using bacon and you haven't mashed the bacon up as well. So I was kind of half expecting that. This one seems to be holding together quite well, but I think I may have packed that one down just a little bit better. So I'll bring it over, let's take a proper look at it. So this one here is okay, but this one here is kind of falling apart. Like I said, not a professional chef, so don't think that I'm actually trying to say I'm good at this. I'm not. Well, I would also cook some eggs, but unfortunately I used the last of my eggs in this particular meal with the burger buns. So yeah, unfortunately I used all the last of my eggs up. Let's have a little bit of a look here. Might give that another flip. That's good. My hand hit the pan. I was a bit concerned about burning myself, so I flipped it a bit faster than usual. Yeah, oops, that one's not turning out quite as well as I was hoping. That's right, I think that one needs to go a little bit longer on the heat. Okay, I think they might be cooked enough. I'm just going to put this over here. Put it over in the hope that it has cooked through enough. I'm just going to put this on top of each one of these. So 2 of these. There's that one. And hopefully this one will stay together. Now I'm not putting anything else with this right now. As I said, I run out of eggs, so I can't have eggs with this. But ordinarily, if I did have eggs with it, this is what I would add. That's what I would do. I'd just add an egg to it. So let's do a bit of a taste test and see what these are like. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a bit of a taste test. It's got my mayonnaise on it, so I know that's going to be nice, but we'll try it out with the meat as well. Oh, that is good. Now, if I also add some cheese and egg to that, that'd be so good. This is going to be my dinner tonight. Oh yes. Alright guys, if you got some value out of this video, how about you smash the like button, as well as subscribe, and also hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we upload more videos. Hey, while you're at it, why not consider sharing? Also, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of these burgers and the Carnivore burger buns. Also, to let you know, right here is a video I believe you might like. Down here is a video YouTube things you might like. Right here, well, that's an image of my head. Now if you click on that, you'll be able to subscribe. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.